Deb, I thought maybe we could start with you as the Director of Nursing, Education, and Professional Development. You provide guidance for professional nursing staff in developing their skills. So I'm wondering, what are the typical next steps for the new graduate, and how does reflective practice play a part? And then Caroline, perhaps you could follow up with explaining a little bit about how that process has worked for you in your first year. So Deb, what do you think?
Our new grads here at Maine Med and all across Maine Health actually are automatically enrolled in our new grad residency program. And that goes beyond just the clinical immersion. They get that on the units where they're working. Their nurse residency program really is to help them develop their professional identity. And, they have seminars in things like, quality and safety and ethics and evidence-based practice, making those topics relevant to their practice on their various clinical units. And at the beginning of each residency seminar, they do a period of reflective journaling. And we talk about that at the very beginning of nurse residency, about how important reflection is to their practice as they're becoming professional nurses. I'm currently teaching the EBP seminar now that I'm immersed in this role, and taught that seminar this morning to another group, and really talked about how important it is to be reflective in your practice, to be questioning, is this the best I can do? So I think it's important in that respect. And so that's the next step for new graduates. I think that also helps carry them through their professional careers. We have a clinical ladder at Maine Medical Center, so they can progress beyond that. So they're called clinical nurse ones as new grads. After the first year, they automatically become clinical nurse twos. If they want to progress beyond that to clinical nurse 3 and 4, they have to do some sort of quality improvement or EBP project. This all involves loading all of their body of work, if you will, into a portfolio. We happen to have an electronic portfolio here at Maine Med called Staff Garden. And they put their clinical exemplars in there. They upload, their continuing education. That's where they upload all of the aspects of their projects that support them progressing up that clinical ladder. So I think having those skills already coming out of school, this isn't just an academic exercise. And I think, having that benefit of having been on the academic side of it and being such a strong proponent of the e-portfolio and reflective practice, and now seeing that it really is relevant to their practice as professional registered nurses, I think is so important.
Caroline, how does your experience fit in this process in your first year?
I am currently in the residency program, so I'm nearing the end as well. So we are working on our final projects and using all of those EBP processes that we learned in school, which is awesome because it feels very natural, and I kind of know where, like, what I'm looking for. Obviously, we're using different libraries, but it's all the same process and flow. So, I feel very prepared to step into that. But yes, with every class that we have in the residency program, we are doing those reflective processes at the beginning. And sometimes I find myself kind of going off left field, and it brings up other things that I didn't even think about, or questions, or topics really that maybe aren't even what the prompt was, but they just naturally came about. Something that happened in my last shift, or a policy that I had to read through in order to get through my last shift. And I feel like it is, for me, been some of the best conversations I've had with my coworkers, my educators, and even managers too. Like it's just brought so much like depth to my career and developing myself as a nurse, or just as a professional. So I feel really grateful to that aspect, that we have that practice, I guess, in place. it's been interesting too, as now I was a preceptor, which was such an awesome experience to be like on the other side of it. And it was an ABSN student as well. So I was getting her experience because obviously I was BSN. So, different timeline and everything like that. So I loved hearing her side of it. And I think at the end of each shift, being like, okay, what can we take away from today? Like, it might have been a little crazy here and there. That wild thing happened, but almost like verbal reflection. But we had a really good time doing that at the end of the shift and kind of taking away the positives, thinking, things to learn for myself too. Because being a teacher, I realized like, oh wow, there's still like so many other things like I'm working on too. And it's just like good to have that fresh perspective. So yeah.
I love that you're in that role because it just
Yeah.
suits you so well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and because Caroline's worked at the Student Academic Success Center before she graduated. So it's nice to see that you are continuing in a role as an educator for new nurses. So that's fabulous. Thank you for doing that.